Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld with Jedediah Bila, Juan Williams, Jesse Waters, and a cigar band is her sun visor. Dana Perino, The Five. We're now into the fourth year of the Democrats' election tantrum. That would be old enough for kindergarten, but maturity matters more than years, so they'll never get in. And they've learned from the best, the media.
I have to say, I found his answers total gobbledygook about that. I mean, you know, the fact is, Mueller wrote a letter of protest.
In William Barr, we have a staunch Trump ally who is also a skilled bureaucrat and who's smarter than Donald Trump. That makes him scarier on both those measures.
If your theory on Barr is correct, where did he become radicalized?
If we can't trust you all to tell us, then I sort of feel like there's a coup happening.
They're gaslighting us.
Gaslighting. Not exactly rational analysis, but going to The View for political insight is like going to the zoo for an oil change, or Hillary for legal expertise.
He is the president's defense lawyer. He is not the Attorney General of the United States in the way that he has conducted himself. Now, calling for his resignation makes perfect sense because he's not discharging the duties of the office.
Oh, please. Imagine getting legal advice from Hillary. That's like getting driving tips from Beto or facts from these showboating hacks.
He testified falsely, deliberately and falsely.
His credibility was shredded yesterday.
I think he should resign.
He has burned through any credibility he had in that role, and he should resign.
It's like they all took the same drug. Now, unless you can claim them as dependents, you don't need these people. Why? They lie to your face. They tell you what's in the report isn't really there, but it is. And in case you forgot, and the media is hoping you did, the report is public. Sorry, guys, it's all in there. If there were any crimes, we'd know. And guess what? We do.
The evidence is now that the president was falsely accused of colluding with the Russians, and we concluded that the evidence developed during the special counsel's investigation was not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense.
So one wonders, what kind of bozos relitigate what's over and done with?
He is actually as dangerous in the position of Attorney General as Donald Trump is as President of the United States. Barr is not an Attorney General of the United States. He is Donald Trump's defense attorney. He's his lackey.
Lackey. So the Democratic media complex held a hearing to complain about getting dumped at the prom. It's not about collusion. It's about not getting what they wanted from the report. Like they didn't get what they wanted from the election. In retaliation, they wasted your time, your money to throw a public tantrum fully embraced by a bedwetting media that hates you and hates themselves. After all, who else would choose to relive their failures every day but a group of self-loathing saps? They relive November 8th, 2016 every day just to make a buck. It's not Groundhog Day, because that's a funny movie. It's the Titanic, and they're the boat. Guess who that orange iceberg was? All right, Jesse, I have an analogy.
Oh,
you know what?
Granted.
Okay, thank you. You know what this is like for me working at FNC and not caring about this story? It's like being at ESPN and being forced to cover the home run derby because it's meaningless and it's all show. It doesn't have any effect on the overall standings. That's how I feel about this.
I'll give you another sports analogy. It's like losing a playoff game and pretending you won.
Yeah.
They lost so badly yesterday, and the media is acting like this was a big victory. Yeah. But you know they didn't win because they're so angry and they're so threatened if you listen to that. Listen to what happened. They've lost control of the narrative, and they've lost control of the process as well. And it's driving them crazy because the full report's out, and there are no more indictments. So essentially the witch hunt's over, but they haven't gotten the memo yet.
Yeah.
It is very interesting to hear them accuse someone else of lying. After 2 years of lying and not apologizing, they have literally no self-awareness whatsoever. But here is why Barr is so threatening. Barr out-lawyered Mueller and Weissman on the obscure obstruction statute that they were trying to footsie with. Remember, they didn't charge him. They just floated this legal theory that was totally untested and the Department of Justice have never used before. So he basically ended the coup. Secondly, they're not used to having such a seasoned pro in the department under Donald Trump. They had Sessions, didn't really have the firepower to compete. They had Rosenstein, who wasn't really there. He kind of abdicated his role. So you have someone come in, clean up shop, and then really unflappably and deftly explain what happened with the Mueller report. And the Democrats are they've been driven crazy because they can't compete rhetorically with them. And then thirdly, they're panicking because they know that Barr is investigating the investigators. They are looking at the FISA abuse. They're looking at the human intelligence assets that they ran, the unmasking and the criminal leaks. And they never thought this would boomerang on them, and it has. And they're really nervous.
You know, Dana, think about all this energy they're devoting to this that could be spent on getting elected, getting a new president, maybe, or maybe concentrating on the important issues that matter to all Americans like myself.
Karl Rove wrote his column today saying, will the Democrats be able to resist impeachment? But I think they've kind of already started. Yeah. And if you look at the Democrats polling at like 70% that they want impeachment, but who doesn't want impeachment on the Democratic side are most of the candidates. There's now 20. On the Democratic side, but they're all going to have to compete for attention against an impeachment push. So you're not going to be able to talk about your student loan debt-free plan or your climate change plan or whatever else you have up your sleeve because the headlines will all be about impeachment. I also think what's frustrating to me is that they seem to be asking Barr to make a decision that Mueller wasn't willing to make himself.
Right.
Why in the world would they think that that would be possible? That doesn't make sense to me. The last thing I would say is I can't stand resign politics. You resign. No, you resign.
Exactly.
You resign. No, you're like nobody's resigning over any of this. Nobody.
Yeah, but
there's an election to be held.
But that's spotlight politics. You get on TV when you say resign.
You should resign.
Exactly, exactly. That's what this is
I've
about.
never called on anyone to resign, I don't believe.
I think you called on me to resign a number of times.
No.
From many of my
show.
Yes. You know, Juan, in the green room, you were just saying to me how upset you were how the Democrats were Kavanaughing Barr.
Is that right?
Yes.
I must have missed that. But, you know, it's not unusual with me. But I just think that this is, you know, like you said yesterday you didn't watch, you know. I think there are lots of people who didn't read, apparently, including the Attorney General, who says he didn't really look at any of the evidence before he decided there was no obstruction.
Oh, boy.
And then secondly, here's a guy who says, oh, I didn't know anything about Mueller having any objections. 2 weeks after, Mueller sent him a letter saying, I object that this is not the full story that you've put out, and it leads to a lack of public trust. And then you guys come out and say, oh, yeah, this is just the Democrats having a tantrum. Let me just say this to you. I didn't hear this when Congress was having oversight hearings on Benghazi for the 15th time. Oh, no, then Congress was fulfilling its constitutional role, which is to act as an equal partner under the Constitution to the executive and to employ its resources, subpoenas and the like, to get answers for the American people. It's the House of the people. But now Donald Trump is fighting every subpoena. Obviously, we don't have a date for Robert Mueller to testify. We don't know if Don McGahn can testify. Is something being hidden? And when Kamala Harris says to this Attorney General, oh, Mr. Attorney General, what is going on? Were you informed by Robert Mueller of object? Oh, well, I don't know. What do you mean? How about this? Do you have a record of conversations with Robert Mueller? Well, yeah, I was taking notes, but, well, can we have the notes? No. This is the most ridiculous. I mean, it's unbelievable.
All right, Jed, respond to Juan's outrage.
Democrats should decide whether they trust Mueller or not. You have to make up your mind because suddenly it's, okay, you trust Mueller, you wait for the report to come out. Now all of a sudden it's, oh, we don't trust Mueller, so we need Barr to have reviewed every ounce of evidence. That was what Mueller was there for, to look at all the evidence. And now everyone's complaining, oh, Democrats are saying, oh, well, we have a problem with the timing of how much was released by Barr and when. The whole report is out. Guess what? You don't like Barr, fine. You don't like Trump, fine. The report is out. There was still no conspiracy with the Russians. There was still no crime. There was still no legitimate case to bring up an obstruction charge. That's the reality. So instead of worrying about who did what or who read what, this is the report. This is where it stands. If we were all of sane minds, we would have already moved on from this story to something else.
I think that's the emphasis. That's the message I'm getting at the, you know, oh, you guys say, it's over. Let's move on.
Over.
Ignore it. It's not over.
A story about
and let me just say,
there's no collusion.
It's not.
This was an initial story about finding collusion.
Just to reiterate, it's not collusion, it's conspiracy, and there was
Right,
lots
there
of
was none of that either.
There was lots of evidence
collusion for
that
a year.
what you heard Mueller said was the Trump campaign was receptive and understood they were to benefit from this Russian
Sorry, Juan, you
information.
lost. Goodbye.